Hi, I'm Ben, and this is my review on Justice League the Snyder Cut. And I'm wearing a Superman shirt, it's brand new for it. Yeah, sorry I can't review it on my desk, there's a lot of stuff I have to move and I didn't feel like doing that. But you can look at my cool posters, like there's Space Jam, Stitch, and some DVDs, and Bartman's Bartman Radioactive Man Funko Pops. But in Spider-Man into Spider-Verse poster, but what I'm trying to get here as yes, Space Jam. Not Space Jam, sorry. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really liked the movie. I thought it was awesome. There was a lot of cool and exciting parts in it, but before I review it, I just want to explain some things that happened and want to explain some things about the movie and my opinions on them. Joss Whedon, for those of you that don't know, or most of you probably know, Zack Snyder sadly had to step down. But in 2017, Zack Snyder had to step down from directing the Justice League movie to focus on his daughter. Yeah, to focus on family tragedies, because what happened. Hmm. So Joss Whedon was gonna take on the roles. Now, Joss Whedon was my favorite director. I loved his work with the first two Avengers movies, and we know he can do a superhero team up because when he did the Avengers, he did this. However, a few years later, Ray Fisher, the actor who plays Cyborg, explained and said, like, oh, Joss Whedon, he was being gross, he was being inappropriate, he was doing this and this, and there was under investigation, and a lot of things Joss Whedon did got canceled, and and he was saying like, oh, Joss Whedon did this, and a lot of people were saying like, oh, Joss Whedon, and that really bothered me because I like Joss Whedon, and at first, I wanted to defend him and be like, well, it wasn't really Joss Whedon's fault because if you compare, don't get me wrong, I like Zack Snyder and I like his work on on his version, but when you look at his version of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and that's great if you love those movies, and I like Man of Steel and have different opinions on BVS, but if you look how critics and how a lot of people the response that a lot of people had with those movies and Joss Whedon movies, you can see how they're different directors. Because basically it's kind of like Vincent van Gogh painting, doing a painting, and then he had to step down from painting, and then they hired Leonardo da Vinci to finish the painting. They're both great artists, but they're gonna have different views on painting a painting. But yeah, because I feel like he was under a because before what I heard, he was under a strict deadline and the CGI I feel like it wasn't awful, but it was unfinished and I feel like what was going on wasn't his fault and Joss Whedon said like he didn't trust his gut, he was under a strict deadline and he didn't got to do what he wanted to do and he had to be because remember Justice League was never Joss Whedon's movie. Avengers was Joss Whedon's movie. Avengers Age of Ultron, say what you want about that one, is Joss Whedon's movie. Justice League was never Joss Whedon's movie, so yeah. I know a lot of people might not like that I'm defending Joss Whedon because of stuff we heard about him. And here's something I saw a YouTube video that people were getting him a hard time for putting a hard comment on this comment saying like, "Oh, I don't like the original Steppenwolf, that other Steppenwolf because he was boringer than Malekith." And I feel like maybe my guess that he didn't like the original Steppenwolf because he didn't got to make the movie he wanted to make, and it was really frustrating. So he had no choice to use that version. So I'm like, yeah, I'm hiring this. But yeah, I feel bad for what happened to Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. I guess I can't really defend him anymore because he's doing all these gross things and he wasn't, which is really hard because I really love Joss Whedon. And now I'm hearing he did all these. gross things and awful things and heard. I do want to still like. Is it okay if I still like Avengers, Age of Ultron, Cabin in Woods, Firefly, Serenity, like his other movies and shows, but maybe not him as a person? I do want to check out his new show, The Nevers, about Victorian England ladies that have superpowers. That looks cool. But yes, Joss Whedon, I heard he's I heard not good things about him. Like he mistreated a lady for he mistreated a lady for her beliefs. That's not good. Ay 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 ay. Well, can't really defend him on those parts. I Well, let's talk about something cool like Justice League. Let's talk about the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was awesome. My favorite parts with Darkseid. Like Darkseid, I wanted him to be the villain. I'm like Steppenwolf? Who? I don't know him. I want Darkseid. He's always been the villain. Darkseid. Do Darkseid. Darkseid was basically a henchman. It, I mean, Steppenwolf was basically a henchman. Like, this is kind of like Vader in Star Wars being the villain, but building up to the Emperor being the villain in the Star Wars movies. Like, imagine watching Avengers Infinity War, but one of the Black Orders was one of the villains instead of Thanos, and they're kind of building up, and they want to build up to Thanos. But at least Darkseid was actually in the movie. I like how they did it. He looked dark, scary, and evil. And Steppenwolf. I should mention, I do like this design of Steppenwolf. The other one looked more, looked like, well, you all know, looked weird, like some weird Viking thing. But I did like he looked more fantasy and alien, like meets fantasy and alien, and more threatening and more because I feel like the Steppenwolf was in the other one was kind of a wuss. This Steppenwolf was more threatening looking, more terrifying, more evil. And I like the parts where he has that vision in the ground where he looks like this. Ooh. Like that I feel like he had more character. I feel like he had more character and looked more threatening. And it was like and more yeah, that looked awesome. But to be honest, in the other version, there were parts I did really like in the other version that I wish was in. Like the part where Batman is on the roof and that guy knows him and he fights the parademon in the beginning of the movie. Or the part where the Flash races Superman. That part was cool. I like that. But I like the parts that were in the Snyder Cut. Like there was parts I'm like, this feels important to the story. Like and made the story feel better. Like I liked oh Martian Manhunter. I like that he was in the movie. Like at first there was Martha Kent and her eyes turned red and I'm like, why is her eyes turning red? Why is there a cape? Was she secretly a parademon? Is she becoming a Kryptonian? What's going on? But then boom, Martian Manhunter. I'm like, Martian Manhunter, yay! Haha! Martian Manhunter's in this movie. Because I wanted him to be in the other movies, but now he's in this movie. And I feel like, because you know the Colonel from Man of Steel, the black general guy? He's Martian Manhunter. At first I was like, at first I was like, oh, I first, because I did found some concept art from Batman v Superman online that he was going to be revealed to be Martian Manhunter, but that was never confirmed. But now they're confirming it. So the Colonel guy is Martian Manhunter, similar to how Supergirl, like that Hank Henshaw guy, was Martian Manhunter. Oh, this is all. Well, this is awesome. Yeah, I like that. Oh, and I like all the parts with Flash. Like, I love how awkward he can be, and how and the CGI is better in this. I just want to tell you, the CGI is way better because when I look back at the CGI, it did look like a cheap video game. Here, this looks much better, like more cinematic, more darker. There were some parts where I'm like, this looks really dark, like a lot of gloomy things, but it is Zack Snyder, so he does like to shoot movies like that. But yeah, I should get mentioned. Slade Wilson, I mean, not Joker. Like at first, like it was going to the end of the movie, but that part is at the end, and I'm like, well, once it getting to the part where when's Joker's gonna be here? I don't know. Where's Joker? And he's like, yeah, there's the alternate ending where he's the Joker and all the characters are there in their post-apocalyptic suit, and Joker's there. He does have a better design than that Suicide Squad version. Like, it's not comic book like Joker, but for a post-apocalyptic alternate universe, it is better than what the Suicide Squad thing gave us. And I feel like did, but he did it better here. Like, and Jesse Eisenberg, he's like, I heard you went crazy, and I'm like, yeah, well, I had some doctors who helped me on this. Yeah, that was better. Yeah, and also, instead of him saying, shouldn't we have a league of our own? He says, Bruce Wayne is Batman. I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. Says Slade Wilson. Yeah, Slade Wilson. He's like, also, have you noticed both actors from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are all in the Justice League movie? Think about it. J.K. Simmons, who played J. Jonah Jameson, plays Commissioner Gordon. Um, Willem Dafoe plays a character named Virtus. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Um, is in this movie. He plays an Atlantean who played the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movie, and Flash Thompson, the actor who played Flash Thompson in the Spider-Man movie, plays Deathstroke in the Justice League movie. This was cool, but yeah, but yeah, that was cool. Um, oh, what else was there? Like, I thought the time travel part was cool when the world exploded, and then he's like, "We gotta go." Also, they killed off. And the part where he was moving time to save the Flash was saving everyone, that was cool. And oh, and Aquaman, he has more character than just my man. Like he actually does something like well, he does stuff, but he does stuff like he does have more like he's a bit darker, but he has a bit more depth, depth in this movie. Yeah. Oh, what else was there to talk about it? Well, all the characters, the cast were great, and mm, hmm, no, but yeah, they killed off Cyborg's dad in this. Like, this wasn't like he comes back to life, because I did like the part at the end where his suit transforms and tries to be more a comic book accurate Cyborg, or I like that part, because I still don't know how to feel about Flash's costume in this, because I like that it's like a red spandex suit, not like this big black thing with uh, um, red paddings on it, but Flash was still a cool character in this, and I liked his character. And I like seeing Darkseid, I like the beginning part with the Atlantean War, seeing all the Greek gods and the barbarians and the Atlanteans and the Amazon woman, and there was lanterns in there, and I think I saw Kilowog in the dream sequence, but yeah, all of them fighting alien conquerors, like that was awesome. But yeah, this was an awesome movie. 4 hours long, but it was an awesome experience. I really cared about the characters. This really felt epic. Well, this review has been 14 minutes long. I don't know what else is there to say. It was a really great movie. I love seeing Darkseid. I love seeing Martian Manhunter. And there's a scene where he talks to Bruce like Darkseid isn't finished and they'll be coming back. Yeah, so I wonder what's going to happen in the next movie. I hope there's a Justice League sequel, whether it's in Snyder Cut, whether it's connected to the Snyder Cut or the movie or something, but I don't know. I really like the Snyder Cut. It's the Justice League movie I wanted. I still don't like that they just killed off Superman, then brought him back to life. I feel like the death of Superman story arc was like a sacred story that needed to be done in a different movie. Like, look at Iron Man from Avengers Endgame. When they killed him off, they waited for at the end of the fourth Avengers movie. Like maybe if they built up his story, like give us three or four different Justice League movies or three or four different Superman standalone movies, have him team up with other DC hero movies, then built up his character, kind of like what they did with Iron Man, then do the Death of Superman story arc and the Reign of Superman story arc. Like they did that better with a direct-to-video movie like The Death of Superman and Superman Doomsday. Like that they did it better. But still, I like the Snyder Cut. It's a really great movie. Hope you enjoyed it. That's my review, and I I might review because there's another Warner Brothers movie I want to review, Godzilla vs. Kong. But I might review that in May because my Uncle James really wants to. I might visit my aunt and uncle in a month or so, so I'm gonna visit them and then I might watch it and I'll come back to you on that. Well, that's my review. It's been 16 minutes long and hope you enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie and you'll probably see some new videos.